could repeat your question so that that sort of discussion can take place.
I like a uniform code of conduct. I would like Orithro and his colleagues to develop a uniform standardized way, because even for diabetes, one dietitian gives this thing, no. Another says yes, you can have this, and ultimately the confusion and boils it. I appreciate that dietitians do not get their due regards from the patient, because even in my clinic, whatever the nutritionist gives, the patient comes and asks me, am I supposed to take this?
Yes.
So this is something that is there, prevalent. We are responsible for it, and we are responsible for reversing it. Number one, the mindset is what is important. I think, yes, maybe 10% of the population is, following, but even with ma'am in AMRI, if you ask the patient to bring the diet chart in the second visit, I am sure they never bring it.
I always tell them in the first visit only, okay, this is your next day, you come to the clinic.
What percentage of your care?
Most of them don't come. Whoever is getting their weight loss proper or getting their diabetes in a proper setup, they don't come. But whoever is coming, I just tell them, come with the diet chart.
What percentage of them do turn back?
Look, I have a suggestion. Basically, what I mean to say, follow-up visits are very important.
Yes, very
because
much.
Once you go for first thing, the diet chart, I don't say to my patients, it's a diet prescriptions. Because the medical professionals, they used to write their prescriptions. So dietitians, clinical dietitians is supposed to give a diet prescriptions to a patient. And the first visit, and also once they calculate the diet properly for any kind of disease specific, because diet, the patients have a multi-disorder, maybe a diabetic patients with hyperuricemia or CKD, or maybe heart failure patients also. So accordingly, the food planner should be there and the disease specific diet, and also we can say to the patients why they are taking. Because I am writing this you will not take, this you will take. Instead of saying this, why you are taking, what is the funda behind that? Why you are taking of this amount of carbohydrate, this amount of the protein, what kind of protein you can take also. And now what is the fashion is that they are purchasing too much of costly food. Like they are trying to go for the imported, their imported fruit like quinoa, lot of cranberry, blueberry, dragon fruit and all those things. But we let them understand our farmers in the Bengal farmers, our crops are actually made from our generic pattern and everything. So better than using the cranberry, blueberry, you can go for the kalojam jamrul, which is so much available in West Bengal. Also you can go for the khoi, you can go for the chira, which are much more available, and also the budget friendly, because budget is a main concern for us. But don't go for diet. It doesn't mean that you have to do too much of crorepati or lakhopati kind of things. Whatever the budget you can have, you can accordingly do the same thing. And also the visit like follow up, because before following up, they have to go for the diet diary, like a logbook diary, or maybe a SMBG chart, maybe for the heart failure patients, they're maintaining the weight, because we know the 2.5 kg body weight or 1 kg body weight increasing due to the edema and all those things. And also the medicines, what the doctor giving prescribe, because we know obesity is a one factor for the lifestyle management, but also there are certain kind of medications. During the COVID, we have seen there are a lot of steroid-induced obesity as there. If you talk about the sulfonylurea, like all the other insulin secretagogue medications, they are basically, their side effect would be the increasing the body weight. So we have to check the medication.
Unfortunately, their body weight potential is high. I don't believe they increase more than 1.1 to 1.2 kg.
But they are also drug like SSRI, maybe taking the SSRI drug, other psychotic drug, or maybe the epileptic drug, because there are what kind of drugs is going on. So we can see the the drug pattern, and then we can educate to the patients what kind of calorie they can take, and the next visit also we can come, because my patient used to come 9 to 10 times, because there is not any kind of goal that you have to reduce 10 kgs in a month. So the weight loss should be the healthy weight loss, because a lot of the other blood parameter we have to see, because it's not like
talk about the diet diary. Now I think both in your institute and ma'am's institute also, people put on the AGP nowadays. It's very, very common.
Yes.
Out of 10 patients, how many patients on a CGM or a AGP do come back to you in between and with the diet log and the AGP derived in
Look, I think it is a 15 days goal.
14 days.
14 days goal. So they used to come to us. In between, my patient used to come to us. Come to me, or rather my hospitals or also clinic for the dietary changes, and this could be the chart, charts and all those things.
No,
They can maintain
that's after the 14 days.
No, in between the 14
In
days.
between.
In between.
How
the
many
14
visits
days.
do you recommend?
How many visits?
Yeah, in between those 14 days.
2 or 3 visits or 2 visits max to max. So accordingly they can change the diet pattern. And what you have mentioned is that these dietitians has given these diet, or those dietitian is given that doesn't mean any unique pattern. ABCD, that method that you have to follow. Like follow means our hospital in KPC also we follow the mass tool. The screening is very important, and also the patient's dietary habit, the dietary recall. Recall is very important. What kind of diet they are following basically. According to, we have to customize the diet prescriptions according to his or her modifications rule. And also the blood report, blood parameters are very important. What are the blood parameters? Maybe patient is having any kind of loop diuretics or not. According to, we can maintain the fluid balances. So these things are basically, this is a common platform. Then we can integrately working with the physicians, surgeons, clinical dietitians, also the other parts. It's not like a alone dietitian will treat or alone physicians will treat. If we see the albumin level, it may lowering up, then we can go for some kind of things which can actually go for the hypoalbuminuria. Maybe the hypokalemic patients, maybe the hyperkalemic patients. So it could be customized to the case specific case.
I would like Dr. Vijay Roy sir to share his thoughts on obesity management.
So I think he has very nicely explained the issues related to the diet chart, to the what we need to the patients, and I'm really I really like this term diet prescription. So you need to add values to the chart or whatever we are giving advice. So we should change the title. It should be diet prescription, not diet chart. Very nice suggestion. I really appreciate it. Second important thing that I like to say that you should have a diary rather than one page where they can they just throw it out. So we should have a diary. In diary, I think every visit should be nicely written. Whatever the diet chart should be given, it should be nicely written. And he has rightly pointed out that it should be from the local available food, not some exotic food. We should not give some exotic diet. And there should be a cross talk between the dietitian and the physician. They should sit together and they discuss the different diseases, what they are seeing, what should be the diet, what is their knowledge and dietitian knowledge, and they should talk with each other so that they come to a common conclusion that okay, this patient comes, we'll give this diet, this patient comes, we'll give another diet, so that there should be a commonality that even the patient recheck with your physician or the patient recheck with dietitian, they give a same advice, and that increases the faith of the patient in that diet, and they will follow it. And most important thing is that compliance is very important, because they are following for 5-7 days, then they forget. So recall value, that she has pointed out very nicely, that recall of the diet. Who will remember? If I have given a diet chart, how can I remember that, oh, I have to take this. It's very difficult. It's not humanly possible. So we should give the diet that he is regularly taking, so that he can recall that, and then we can follow. We can do it by a call also. We can just give a call every 1 week that are you following the diet or not? Are you facing any problem or not? So these days we should use the technology also, and we should call the patient and ask them that whether you are following the diet as per protocol or not, and mention in the diary that you should also maintain and he should also maintain. If you follow up the patient, I think your patient will be very happy, and they will follow that diet. They will be very much encouraged to follow this diet. So my idea is that there should be cross talk, there should be continuous talk between physician and the dietitian, and the follow up of the patient is very important.
Thank you. I think there is a good number of young dietitian and doctors over there. I would say like you actually treat quite a good number of obese patients. that we know. So what normally the challenges comes across in your practice, and how do you actually take care of that? And similarly, I would actually pass on the same question to both the dietitian also.
So the challenges faced is that first of all that whenever I ask my patient, even he is 120 kg, and ask the, what diet you are taking, say I am eating very little amount of food, I am not eating at all. I am just eating a very one roti in the night, one roti in the evening. In spite of that, I am gaining weight. They do not accept it. The acceptance is very important. Yes, my diet is high. I have to cut down. Even if they do not accept it, how can I change my behavior? If I am not accepting my behavior, then how can I change it? They do not calculate the snacks they are taking. They do not calculate the in between munching they do not calculate it. So that is adding. The second thing is that physical activity that they are lacking. That is a different part apart from diet, because diet and physical activity, these are the two things by which we can achieve the target weight. So dietitian should also enforce the patient that this diet will not only help, you have to do exercise, you have to walk also to digest the food, and the water intake. Water intake is very important. Many of the patients they do not take adequate water, and our body is made of 70% water. So we should encourage the patient that you should drink a good quantity of water. If the patient is not having cardiac failure or heart failure or this kidney problem or some liver problem, our dietitian should encourage to drink more water, because many of the time we are thirsty, we are not hungry. People feel that we are hungry, so they eat food. But many of time we are thirsty. So if we drink a glass of water, that covers our appetite. So more details will be given by the diet. They are more expert in what kind of
this
diet.
is a very authentic patient that this compliance is very important, because whatever we suggest to a patient, we need at least 70 to 80% compliance and adherence to the diet, because nowadays patients again are very much tech savvy and they are very much into something from the internet. So our main motto is that the research says, lot of research says, neither keto nor intermittent, only the chrononutrition. Dr. Delabos in 1986 they have proposed the chrononutrition, which is basically the biological clock in the circadian rhythm from the early morning till dinner, and in actually happening through and proper the food regulation, because we all know about this different timing of the food, and also we know the leptin and ghrelin, where those white adipose tissues are responsible to increasing of much more of leptin, then they can try to control our appetite, where the different functions happening from the ghrelin, they are basically increasing the appetite. So we have to try to much more working on the leptin and the white adipose tissues. So in that cases, exercises is one of the major part. And also in other cases where we try to always targeting to implement our the cytochrome A, cytochrome B, 1 and 2 pathway, because we know all the things which basically goes to our this ATP cycle. Like after the Krebs cycle, the food converts into energy. For that, the electron transport system chain are very important. Otherwise, the triglyceride formation, lot of adipose tissue fat, lot of central obesity can happen. So these we have to encourage to the patient. For the sedentary, we have to come out from the sedentary activity lifestyle to a moderate at least. And what Dr. Rai is saying about the importance of the water, because now we are sitting in the air conditioned room. Maybe we are not thirsty, but we need to understand the invisible perspiration or insensible perspiration we have. So in each and every hour, we at least take 250 ml of water. Either we are thirsty or not, because those people are walking outside, they are having thirsty, so they are taking 1 or 2 liters of water. But those maximum, maybe the IT professionals, maybe the hospital worker, inside worker, they are sitting. So 250 ml of water in each and every hour they have to intake. So that is very important thing. And the third thing also, that we shouldn't cut out the carbohydrate, because if we talk about the RQ, the respiratory quotient, we can see the volume of oxygen, volume of carbon dioxide. So at a glance, we shouldn't be too much of hyperphagic or binge eating. What she has said already, binge eating shouldn't do, because once we take in particular such a great amount of food, then for metabolize or for the SDA actions of the food, so it will be much more walking too much of excess amount of carbon dioxide. So small and frequent meal should be important. That should be 2 to 3 hours apart. They have to take. So binge eating or hyperphagic is not at all suggested for any point of time. So small and frequent meal is very important. And also the importance of the protein, because good high biological value of protein, because we know the specific dynamic action is much more higher in the protein. So protein rich food they can have very well. And the role of dietary fiber is very important, because dietary fiber, soluble dietary fiber give you the satiety, because we know very well the soluble dietary fiber can't work in our small intestine. Directly they can go to our large intestine, taking large amount of short chain fatty acid like butyrate and acting as a prebiotic. So we know the role of the prebiotics and probiotics acting as a symbiotics and good for the patient's gut health, the gut microbiota, as well as also they are important for a proper dietary, because if you take a good amount of the soluble dietary fiber, we are not hungry every seconds, or we shouldn't go for outer dietary or outer junk or outer goodie and foodies of too much of the fried food. That is very important. And also the cooking mechanisms are very important, because maybe the garlic, maybe the ginger, maybe the green tea, lot of have a very good of antioxidant. If you talk about the green tea, what she showed about the green tea contain epigallocatechin gallate, a very good antioxidant. If you talk about the garlic, it contain allylic sulfide, is a very good antioxidant. If you talk about the tomato, contain lycopene, a very good antioxidant. If you talk about the onion, contain allicin, again a very good antioxidant. If you talk about the brinjal, contain nasonin, good antioxidant. But too much of frying, if you take a lot of oils and fry into an onion, brinjal like begun bhaja in Bengali, then what will happen? Lot of aldehydes and lot of free radical will come. So free radical again responsible for the non-communicable disease like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease. So that should be our importance to let them understand what kind of oil and what is the amount, because if you talk about the cha like lot of sugar, lot of milk, we are taking a lot of boiling temperature, then what will happen, instead of happening too much of good amount of the volatile, the oils, the important oil should be volatile, and they are increasing the tannin and tannic acid. So tannin, tannic acids are not good for health. So the boiling should be 70 degree centigrade, and also the tea something at a boiling kind of temperature, and then we can have without sugar and without milk. So অনেকটা ফুটিয়ে যদি তাকে একদম ভালো করে তৈরি করি, so we are not getting the actual, the important, the catechin, the epigallocatechin, and whatever the antioxidant we are talking about. So flavonoids, antioxidants are important, but heat basically killed of this kind of the important antioxidant and flavonoids, they actually destroys of these things. Okay, in the other hand also, if we talk about this, what I talk about the cytochrome pathway, I'm not going about too much of striated muscles and the glycogen stores, but again, we have to increase the ATP formation instead of doing the triglyceride and other fatty acid formation. So that is the main thing, to let them understand to the patient that এটা আপনার জন্য ভালো হবে. So you have to go through this and don't go for the advertisement gimmick. Like lot of oils advertising this oil is cholesterol free. Neither any kind of vegetable oils have cholesterol. They have only the plant sterol or ergosterol. So cholesterol only you can find from the animal's body, not from the plant's body. So this is the way we have to understand to the patient. Then they can also listen, because we have to be very empathetic, and also we have to give some kind of time to our patients. Eta khaben seta khaben na diet chart like what he said, it's not done, because one diet chart can't be for everyone. So diet prescription, what the medicine, he's a physician, or sir, Dr. Somudra Raichodhuri, they are basically giving a medical prescription. So that could be individualized and in the proper guidelines. So we have to check all those things. Why the patient did these things? Maybe he has said about this heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. There are a lot of medication like sacubitril, valsartan. We know these medications have the side effects to hyperkalemia or hypotension. So we have to proper monitoring to our patients. Ki hote pare or ki hocche. In that cases we have to customize to our diet. If the patients get this kind of confidence from a clinical dietitian, then definitely they will come back to the dietitians and go a proper follow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So We can have one or two questions from the group. Do you have any questions? Okay, so I think they have been waiting since 9 and it is almost going to be 10:30. I just missed. Is there anything you would like to add? What?
No, I already told while I'm presenting the whole. The main thing is we have to understand, we have to take the proper diet.